let's take a look at this cutscene here.
Crucial alliance. That's how I first came into contact with Athena, the scout in the Hucktail Resistance. When did you first meet? During a rescue mission in Moloch's domain. The Resistance planned to sabotage a barbaric ritual, the Ceremony of Fire.
Did you plan to stop this ritual from happening?
Not exactly. A direct assault on Moloch would have been unwise at that time. We wanted to save the prisoners by stealth.
What was the plan?
Our part was to get inside the camp, undercover. Up close, we could scan the appearance of one of Moloch's generals and use a mimetic device to take on a holographic disguise. That way, we wouldn't get hassled by the goons. The job required someone with both technical know-how and a flair for the dramatic. Luckily, our team included such a man. Sam Watson, our technical officer, old buddy of mine. Once inside, we do the same impersonation routine with a mimetic device on the High Priestess, Severta. She was conducting the ritual. With Sam acting as her, we could stall the proceedings while the kids were taken to safety.
All right, what better introduction than this, I guess?
Well, indeed, it's designed to be an introduction, after all. It does introduce, obviously, what you have to do in the level with a stealth game. It's vitally important that people understand fundamentally what they have to do. So we have a number of cutscenes throughout the game, and we also have audio introductions. One of the things we touched on at Christmas was how our game, which is telling a new story within the Stargate universe, still has a number of touch points with the original TV series. And I think today is another good example of that. Your mission here today is to stop a ceremony of fire, which does get referenced in the episode Birthright in I think Series 8 of the TV series. Moloch, the Gwald system lord who controls this planet, we're on the planet Hacktil here, has decreed that all Jaffa girls should be burned alive because they are useless to him. Only men can fight, and thus the girls must be burned alive. It's therefore up to your Stargate team to stop this from happening.
So this is basically you're scanning through the map to see what you have to do and then going back to your starting point.
Yes, they're big old maps, and you need to understand the challenges that lie ahead of you. One of the challenges we had when we were working out what we were going to show today was how we were going to cram a whole level into a mere 45 minutes, as there simply isn't time realistically to play through from start to finish.
These are pretty big, yeah. So what are we seeing now?
We are seeing the camp here. We're introducing two new characters today who are... we have Max, who is the sniper. Max Bolton is our sniper. He made a brief appearance at Christmas as one of the supporting characters. He has sort of typical sniper characteristics. He is very good at killing people from a long way away, which is vitally important for a sniper. Given that kind of role, he has very much the grizzled veteran about him and the sort of the hard-bitten cynicism you would expect. He's also hooking up with his buddy Sam Watson today, who they were in our lore. They were originally army buddies together. Sam is a much more cunning character. He uses a number of technological tricks to be able to achieve his mission objectives. What we are seeing today is Sam and Max, great names indeed for gaming characters. They have something of a wisecracking relationship from time to time, and having assessed all the options, they can only come up with something ridiculous. So the plan is that Sam is going to try and get into this small encampment over here. There is a Jaffa general who is in the camp. It will be up to Sam to incapacitate that general and then use his mimetic scanner so that he can take on the appearance of a Jaffa general. This will fool most of the foot soldiers around the map. The Jaffa warriors and the general grunts will be fooled by this. However, the Jaffa generals themselves are not, for the most part, quite so stupid. So they will still spot you. But it's the only way they can find into the camp. So Sam needs to get up there. He needs to incapacitate the general and scan him so he can proceed into the camp.
Come on, Annie. Come on. Let's see the magic.
So as you can see, you can control more than one character simultaneously. We didn't show any of that last time. I think this map shows again well the importance of having two characters who work together, but will also need to occasionally fulfill their own individual objectives. All right. What's happening here is it's got classic sort of stealth mechanics here with a view cone where you can be seen. The solid part of the view cone and the broken part of the view cone is you can hide in bushes and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, Annie, this is a live broadcast, as you can see, has alerted someone. So, yeah, she needs to find a brute force solution to this problem, I think, because
which brings the question, I guess. Oh, Annie. Oh, come on, Annie. So it brings a question: is how many different ways of going through a scenario are there?
There's always going to be a choice of ways to approach any given mission. Almost all missions, there are a few exceptions, but almost all missions you will have a small core of characters you have to select every time. There will also be one or two optional characters you will need to select every time. We haven't met all of those yet, so we can't break down exactly how that works. But there's each character will be bringing a range of skills, so the characters you choose will define how you go about the mission. When we were preparing this broadcast, the developers sent me a walkthrough video, and it was very different to the way I myself have approached this level. I was genuinely taken aback by, oh, okay, so you can do it that way. I adopted a rather sort of more brute force, clumsy approach and slower moving through. But also, you can choose to sort of sneak through very slowly individually. You can move your team around as a close-knit unit. The team will always need to work together, but how that manifests itself can be very different depending on the situation. So, yeah, there's always more than one way to solve any given problem.
I guess you go through the list of tasks within the map, and that how you achieve these tasks is entirely up to you.
Your objectives are quite high level. You've got to in this mission you will have to disguise as a Jaffa general. You will use that to reach the priestess who is going to conduct the ceremony. You will then knock her out, impersonate the priestess. You will conduct that ritual yourself whilst dressed as a priestess, and the hopefully distracting the bad guys, as it were, and so you can save the children. Those are your top level objectives. How you go about that, it really is up to you. There are a few Easter eggs tucked away in there, a few little tricks, depending on what character you have. So there's many ways to approach a mission. The broad objectives are, of course, always the same.
One thing that we were sort of looking at was we have to be careful in not spoiling too much of the story, because this is a very very much of a narrative game, so you don't want to say so much about the story.
Indeed.
So we picked this scenario for a reason. Why was it that this specific scenario is because it shows enough of the game, and then
we felt that it showed the game well. It's an environment that we haven't showed before. It's, as you can see, a nighttime setting this time around. It showcased new characters. It's a chronological progression from what we've shown before as well. As we touched on briefly last time, the chronology of the game moves around quite a lot. This is a chronological progression from what we have seen before. It's always been a nice looking level. You will recall from early presentations we've done internally, this was kind of one of the first levels we had that looked good, so it's always been a strong contender.
All right, so Annie did something different now. She's gone through this cliff.
Annie has kind of zoomed in here. There's a cliff outpost overlooking where you need to be. There's a lot of bad guys out there, so we have sent Max up ahead here to take care of the couple of troops who are manning the overlook. And Max has done what Max does best, silently sneaking up to people. I was distracted, so I don't know whether these people remain alive or not. I think so. They are tied up.
Okay. But one other thing comes to mind is, how hard is going to be, the final game going to be? Is it hard game? For we got a lot of Stargate fans out there who are, looking for just some, genuine entertainment, right?
For me, I would say it's the biggest challenge in getting the game completed. The number one thing in my in tray, as it were, balancing the challenge of a stealth game to offer the level of complexity and difficulty that people who enjoy these games want to play, and offering a challenge for those players, but also allowing people who want to engage with the game very casually, just explore a new Stargate story and almost approach it from a narrative point of view. The game is large. There's a lot of story to be told. I've been through it line by line. There's an awful lot.
Yeah.
So we really do want to make the game accessible for both of those groups of people. It's absolutely the number one thing I want to achieve.
It's the first time, I think, in the Slytherin history where we almost get, attached to single characters, right? It's like, we're used to talk about different types of games, and this one is more about the story, the characters, and it's the first time we ever got a heavily narrative-driven game.
It's very narrative-driven, yes. As I just said, there's an awful lot of story there. MGM have been very involved in the approvals process. They've been through every line and vetted it, and that they were obviously insisting that it meets the standards that we would expect from a well-respected property like Stargate. We are telling a long story here. We feel it's a good one with a lot of twists and turns, which of course we don't want to reveal, but there's no point in telling that deep, involving story if people have to give up halfway through because they're stuck on a mountain ridge or in a Mayan temple or what have you.
Sam is doing a good job there or not?
Sam's doing very well indeed. He is crouching in the bushes. We can see a civilian there. Civilians, unless they see something explicitly bad going wrong, they'll just leave you.
What happened there?
That's the Zat gun, the stun gun, which Sam carries. So that will briefly stun a Jaffa general, which is your window of opportunity to get up behind him. And now he's nicely tied up. Get that mimetic scanner going, and there we go. You can see that Sam in the bottom left-hand corner now, his avatar in the bottom left-hand corner is now in disguise. The figure in the playfield as well is now in disguise. So you see these guys now, they're chill.
Yeah, that's really good. Good job, Annie.
Smoothly done. There is a meeting of soldiers just hanging around, nattling to each other,
here.
not doing very much.
How bold the guy is now. Yeah.
You need some nerve to be crawling around in a camp, certainly. Annie is zooming in here to another Jaffa general. You are in disguise, so you will see the eye icon above the Jaffa general's head. Essentially, that means he is not fooled by your disguise. Normal rules still apply, so you can crawl through the broken part of his view cone, but if you're in the solid part of his view cone, he's going to spot you. So there's an awful lot going on here, mainly civilians. You're in a civilian part of the world.
I think something went wrong.
I think Annie may be in trouble here. There's another guy up around the corner.
I think something went wrong.
I think he may have spotted you, the other fellow.
Annie. Well, that's good. It's good.
We're
live. So basically, how does that? So basically, once you complete one objective, you can restart from that objective.
Well, you can save pretty much anywhere. It's a vitally important part of a game.
So Annie
like
actually did this to show us how the save process works.
When we were setting up earlier, I did say do make sure to fail a couple of times, so it all looks real. And
you did very well on that.
Kind of showcases what happens, and I think that is objective achieved.
So this camp here, so the next objective is to go to Svidra's house.
Svidra is the priestess. So you You already know that your next objective is to get through the gate that we saw in the top right-hand corner there. That's been explained in audio in the fly pass at the start, so that's part of your route onto the gate.
So what is Max doing all this time?
Max is, well, as Sam would put it, he's essentially loafing around, but there Max is over there, keeping an eye out on things. He will be there to clear the way for Sam when he comes through. So
I can see that on the bottom right-hand corner, you see the map and what the screen is looking at the moment, and it does look pretty big.
It really is very big indeed. I think even trying to speed run this when you know exactly what you're doing, we wouldn't have been able to fit it all into this time slot. So we're expecting that each mission, for an experienced player of games of this type, when coming to the game for the first time, it's probably going to take them at least an hour of challenge. So we've got a strong campaign, we feel, with a good amount of challenge in here.
Whilst Annie's trying to sort herself out there, when is the game going beta?
So the game is more or less feature complete at this point. Everything that needs to be in there is in there, with the exception of a good amount of VO. The VO has been going in over the last couple of months. The VO also dictates a lot of the tutorial elements of the game.
All right, yeah.
So we're about a month away from having all that complete. At that point, I imagine we will look at it internally and kind of see what we think about it. But I would hope that we will be in a position to beta this at some stage in the summer. It's coming relatively soon.
Not too far away.
I really don't think it's too far away.
We know that July is a big anniversary for SG1, is it?
July is, I am quite frightened to remember 25 years, I think, from SG1. I can well remember watching it on television when it was a new thing, and suddenly that's 25 years ago. So yes, July is indeed a big date in the Stargate calendar, so it would be lovely to have something ready for then, but of course we need to make sure that it's ready for public consumption.
I think something bad happened again.
Yes, I think Annie got a bit casual there.
I think one of the cool things I see about this game is that, I mean, for the first time I can see it. Come on, Annie.
Come on, Annie.
Come on, Annie. I think you should be popping out this tent, guns blazing, and killing everyone.
You're not going to get very far by guns blazing. Yeah, that's. There are elements of violence you will always need to use. There are elements of stealth you will always need to use. How exactly you will go about that will always be a part of the challenge. We can see there that obviously a guard is alerted by seeing not just you, but by seeing a body on the floor there.
So what happened there now?
Well, as Annie was tying a character up, one of the guards spotted something untoward going along there.
Right now she's managed to
sneak off behind there whilst they were concerned about the body itself. And, now they've got no real idea where to go. They will continue to be irate for a while and come looking for her. However, Annie is going to trip the next cutscene as a sort of useful point to escape from that anger which she deliberately provoked there. There's been something of a failure of communication here, and the story takes a bit of a twist.
So that's one of ours, right?
I'm afraid so, yes.
Aha.
Yes, we were not expecting that. It turns out that there is a third agent in the mission who is Atar, a Jaffa girl whom we met, again, very briefly at the last Home of Wargamers as an assistant to Eva in Mission 2. As a Jaffa, she is faster and stronger than the Tauri characters, the Earth characters. She is good at, she can pickpocket characters. She also has stun abilities. She's a very accomplished climber. She is good at luring people towards her, planting lures, and bringing characters towards her. So yes, she too has her range of abilities.
Okay. What's your favorite character?
My favourite character, I must admit that I like the grizzled cynicism of Max, the sniper.
All right,
For
okay.
some reason, I find that quite relatable.
Oh, again. I mean, you've got lots of corpses around here.
Well, it's a dirty business, unfortunately. Whilst you do have the option, Sam does have the option, whilst dressed as a general, to distract some of the foot soldiers with chit-chat. It's not generally an option in this game.
Makes sense.
You've got to dish out a fair bit of violence. This is a very busy mission. There's an awful lot of bad dudes to be taken care of.
Well, this is a night mission. Does night and light of day and night does it influence how you play the game?
It doesn't. Night doesn't particularly. No, the challenges still remain the same. It's not like you can creep around easily at night and just do what you want, and they have a field of vision only that far in front of them. That just doesn't really work from a gameplay perspective. So the night thing is more or less visual, really, just showcasing a difference. You will still be up against a very similar level of challenge.
In this mission now we have 3 characters, and this is mission number.
This is mission number 3.
Right.
Well,
So
yes.
further into the game, how many characters will you be controlling at the same time?
I think off the top of my head that there are never more than 3 to control at any one time. There might possibly be one of the later missions where you are controlling 4. Probably got the developers going mad in the chat at me at the moment, but as I say, there might possibly be one with 4, but there's a lot to take care of. Any character is almost inherently a risk. A character is something that can be discovered, so trying to manage 4 of those can be something of a challenge. So 3 seems, from our testing so far, to be about the right
Reasonable.
balance.
Yeah.
It depends what comes up in beta, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So what's happening here now?
So what's happening here is that Atar is sneaking around. We have, I was again distracted. I think somebody has been blinded, is that right? So our sniper has blinded somebody with a flashbang from over there. So they have a very narrow blue view cone. There we go, there's just an example. You can see, can you bring up the view cone for that character maybe, Annie, just to sort of illustrate? There you go. Well, he's recovered now by the time I thought to ask. But you can the sniper has an ability not just to shoot people where you will leave a corpse that will be discovered if you can't get to it, but he can fire a flashbang that will severely limit a guard's view cone for a few crucial seconds, so allowing you to get past. And obviously they'll be on a state of high alert once they recover their vision.
All right.
So there are a number of new skills in play, which I thinking back, I can't
just
remember.
take a look at the UI there, whilst we take a look at the scene. So the UI, you've got like on the left-hand side, you've got a list of characters you've got available. Selecting one of the characters will open their available kits or abilities.
Yes. You will all, it's very clear to see who you're controlling. You have the tab of 3 characters on the left-hand side. They all have a signature colour.
Okay.
One of the peculiarities of Slytherin is that we only hire colourblind producers. It's company policy, seemingly. So we always make sure that even for colourblind people, this works well. So each has their signature colour, so almost immediately you know who you're controlling. You have a big avatar in the bottom left-hand corner, which shows you not just the character you're controlling, but what state they're in, whether they're crouching. You can see when Max is holding his gun. You can see when they're carrying a body. We saw Sam earlier, who was in disguise, for example. You could see what he was disguised as. So you always know what your characters are doing. Your skills are in the bottom left-hand corner. They're just mapped to a number of numbers. Each character has unique abilities. It's not like everybody can stun and everybody can scan people's memories and so on and so forth. So yes, every character has their advantages and disadvantages.
I think I really always loved the scenario art, but also starting to I'm pleased to see that all the animations and such are really shaping up to be pretty high standard now.
I've been really pleased with the progress we've made, particularly on animation recently. We've made sort of huge strides on that, and even in the last few days, as we've desperately got ready for this.
It was all easy when we received this build. What, like 20 minutes before the going live?
Much more than 20 minutes. We received it in time.
We downloaded it, and it was all. But we had like a number of B plans anyway, B and C and D plans.
Always. So. It was the first thing I learned, probably also about 25 years ago, is always have a plan B in this business.
So, especially if you're playing Stargate.
So absolutely, a lot will go wrong. That is the nature of the game. So you have to learn to manage that. A lot of stealth games are always in your face and telling you to save every 30 seconds and so on. And we've chosen not to do that so far. We didn't particularly like the way it worked. Again, we'll have to see how that goes in beta and see what the community think of that, whether it's something they would prefer to see more up front or not. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to community feedback on.
I think the other thing, I was looking at the different scenarios we've got, and there's a lot of variety as well. It's not like, showing this doesn't give you a full idea of the game, because the game has so many different situations, varieties of landscapes and scenarios. It's crazy, right?
It really, everything is different. Everyone is completely different. We could do 14, 15 of these Home of Wargamer events and showcase something different every time. Everything is completely different, but it doesn't feel like it's different for the sake of it. Each different landscape brings different challenges. It advances the story in a sensible fashion. Bear in mind also the time loop mechanism, on which we touched briefly in December. You'll be able to go back and replay previous missions anyway, so it's not enough to have a small variation of level artwork style, because you're already able to go back and replay those levels with new technologies and with new knowledge to get a new challenge out of those anyway. So the variety in landscapes, it really is fantastic. I think it's one of the strongest features of the game.
Yeah, I think most of these games have this, repeat scheme, right? There's this types of games of a setting, and almost the setting is dictating the landscapes, the scenarios, the characters, and so on. With Stargate, we have the luxury of exploring different planets and
absolutely.
And such, right?
As you were talking then, I was thinking, well, our setting is the universe, but we've really seized that opportunity and really made the most of that, I think. So the next level looks very different to this, as does the one after, the one after. Everything is really very different, and there are some. I don't know whether we'll ever get to show them before the game is public. But
I hope not. We're going to spoil all the story, and that's
there are some very, very intelligent things they've done with the just the environmental design as well. So it's not like every level has cliffs, and cliffs are always important. There are some levels that work in very different fashions because of the environment, and I'm trying to think of a clever way to express that without revealing anything. But I have not been successful.
No, I think you've been. I think you've been successful. I think the cool thing that we have to. I always take away from Stargate is that, well, I'm excited because it's the first narrative-driven game. It's the first time we publish a game with such a deep attachment to characters and the story and such. And I think this is really delivering on the Stargate idea. Stargate is a narrative-driven universe.
I've been very taken aback by the depth of affection that people hold Stargate in, and how much it means to so many people, not just in the fan community, but also at MGM and now at Amazon as well. There's a lot of love for Stargate internally. People are very keen that we make the best game that we can to do justice to the Stargate community. So it's a big challenge, a big responsibility. But,
we're talking about MGM. We've got I got a video message from a friend of ours at MGM.
Yes, from
we're gonna play that, and we'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Matt Group, and I'm the Director of Production for Interactive Games here at MGM. We could not be more excited to be telling a new story with original characters set in the SG-1 universe through Stargate Timekeepers. It truly has been a pleasure working with the team to bring this exciting new title to life. Today is a special day where you'll be able to see new details about the game. We really hope you enjoy it.